The man on the motorcycle was looking at the beautiful woman when he suddenly fell to the ground. Ji-hyun slammed the steering wheel and crashed into the truck. Then the whole person rushed out of the windshield. After a few minutes, the woman's fingers moved a little. Her eyes opened and she woke up. Ji-hyun got up and saw that she was not injured. At this time, the person behind her kept slapping her car. Ji-hyun found that the person in the car was actually herself. There was also a call from her fiancé in the car. Ji-hyun wanted to touch someone, but found that she couldn't. She turned her head and saw a man staring at her, but Ji-hyun looked at herself being taken to the ambulance and followed her to the hospital. After arriving at the hospital, she followed her all the way, but the surveillance camera couldn't see her. Her father and fiancé came. Ji-hyun walked towards her father. It turned out that she had become a ghost. She watched as she was pushed into the operating room. In her sadness, she saw the man from the scene again. Then Ji-hyun chased after him all the way and said to the man, "Did you see me just now?" The man questioned her if she was sober when she was driving. Then the man looked at the hospital bed. The soul of this uncle had actually come out of his body. This shocked Ji-hyun. Then the uncle on the bed's heart stopped beating. Jaehan bowed to the uncle and took him to another room. Then he waved his hand and the elevator door opened. The uncle walked in. The elevator door slowly closed and then turned into a puff of smoke. At this time, Jaehan came to the rooftop and said that he was an extradition messenger. His job is to extradite the dying. But today's schedule is not you, but that uncle. But because of the car accident, Ji-hyun is an accident. She shouldn't die today. It's an emergency. Then Jaehan took Ji-hyun to the operating room. Ji-hyun looked at her parents and her fiancé Miho waiting by the window. Then her best friend and classmates came. The doctor announced that Ji-hyun was a vegetable with brain death. Jaehan told Ji-hyun that there were two ways to deal with this kind of accidental death. The first is to follow me and take the elevator to Reincarnation. The second is to find 3 people who truly love you within 49 days and you can go back. But you have to collect 100% pure tears from the 3 of them. Ji-hyun said, "What's so hard about that? Just now, my best friend's fiancé was crying." Jaehan said, "Do you think they were crying from the heart?" Then he took Ji-hyun to the funeral. The purple tears are the tears of sympathy for the friend's early death. These are the gray tears of comfort for one's own situation due to the friend's early death. This woman is crying red tears out of politeness. The pure tears of pure love with a purity of 100 are the pure tears shed by the deceased sister. The other 2 bloating ones are black tears. Jaehan then found Eunhee, 28. At a convenience store. Her work hours are from 2 a.m. to 9 a.m. Jaehan asked Ji-hyun to meet her during the day and use her body. But there were 3 conditions. 1 was that she could not tell anyone her identity. 2 was that she must be home before midnight. 3 was that she had to earn her own money. Ji-hyun then possessed Eunhee's body, but she was very uncomfortable. She opened the bathroom door and saw a woman who was so messy. Ji-hyun could only go out the door with dirty shoes. But when she saw her own appearance, she was still shocked. After all, it wasn't her own body. And her hair was a mess. At that moment, Jaehan appeared behind her. Jaehan went over the 3 agreements again and handed Ji-hyun a cell phone. The time remaining for Ji-hyun was on this. Jaehan told her that there was an emergency button. Only contact an emergency in an emergency. An emergency is when you violate the 3 conditions or when you are in a very dangerous situation. Jaehan gave her 49,000 won as emergency money until she finds a job. It must be returned within 49 days. The tears Ji-hyun collects will be put in a necklace. With the money, Ji-hyun also takes a taxi. After all, she used to be a rich lady. Then she went directly to the hospital and looked at her room. Fiancé Miho was standing motionless in front of the bed. Ji-hyun remembered meeting Miho many years ago. When she was climbing a mountain, she encountered a storm. It was Miho who happened upon her and carried her down the mountain. Since then, they have decided to be together. But at this time, Ji-hyun is possessed by Eunhee. Miho is not crying at this time. How is she going to collect the tears of true love? Ji-hyun goes to the store again and buys shampoo and lipstick. She goes to her best friend's cake shop but finds it closed. She goes to her classmate's coffee shop but her best friend is also not there. Ji-hyun, who was starving, ate a bowl of noodles but found that Jaehan had already spent all the money. So she offered to work part-time to pay for the meal. But her classmate said there was no shortage of staff here and told her to leave. Ji-hyun, who was nervous, started picking her fingernails. This small action made her classmate In-seok remember that the original Ji-hyun also picked her fingernails when she was nervous. So In-seok agreed to let her work part-time in the store. Ji-hyun returned home and came out of Eunhee's body. It was only 8:30 in the morning, and Eunhee had not yet woken up. Ji-hyun wanted to go out, but she couldn't touch anything. Jaehan, who was dancing, suddenly started to convulse. It turned out that Ji-hyun was using her mobile phone to call for help. Jaehan appeared behind her and asked what was wrong. Ji-hyun said, "I want you to open the door for me." Jaehan immediately flew into a rage. "I will not interfere in the affairs of the world," he said, and then disappeared. The next day, after washing her hair, Ji-hyun started her work of collecting tears again. After arriving at the coffee shop, a refreshed Ji-hyun stunned everyone. Although it was Eunhee's body, Ji-hyun still loved beauty. After all, the soul was her own. When she was arranging the cutlery, she dropped it and picked it up to wipe it on her body. When she poured the water, She imitated others and poured it, falling on the guest's lap. In-seok then came and questioned Ji-hyun if the resume was real. He asked Ji-hyun to go to the Seoul Hotel to get a work certificate. Ji-hyun then went to the Seoul Hotel without stopping. Unexpectedly possessed, Eun-hee really worked here. Ji-hyun saw her fiancé Miho here. She followed her fiancé to the elevator. At this time, her best friend Sora also came to her side, but her best friend did not recognize the possessed Ji-hyun at this time. Ji-hyun saw the elevator stop at the 18th floor. 6 floors above is the guest room. She also entered the elevator with her best friend. Ji-hyun pressed 20 herself, but Sora pressed 18. Ji-hyun's heart was in turmoil. When she followed her best friend to the door of a room, Miho opened the door. Miho pulled Sora inside. Ji-hyun couldn't calm her heart for a long time after seeing this room. She then remembered what happened the day of the car accident. She was waiting at the intersection for the traffic lights to turn green when she saw her fiancé and her best friend in the car across the street. Ji-hyun cried and kept telling herself that it wasn't real, that she must have seen it wrong. Then she was driving along, thinking about what had just happened, and accidentally dropped her phone. She unbuckled her seatbelt to get her phone, and that's why she was knocked out of the car. Ji-hyun sat in front of the room door, unable to move. Inside the room, Miho said to Sora, "Our plan cannot be stopped." He told Sora to get Ji-hyun's seal, because Miho wanted to secretly take over the land owned by Ji-hyun. On the day of Ji-hyun's car accident, Miho was about to sign the contract, but he found that Ji-hyun gave him a lipstick instead. Sora, who was feeling guilty, strongly objected. At this time, the sad Ji-hyun ran downstairs. She took out her mobile phone and quickly called Jaehyun. At this time, Jaehyun appeared in front of her. Ji-hyun questioned Jaehyun if he had known what happened that day. Jaehyun said, "Although I know, I don't interfere in human affairs." He told Ji-hyun, "You only have 46 days left. Treasure them." Ji-hyun then remembered that she had to return to the cafe to give In-seok a work certificate. In-seok was angry with Ji-hyun for being late. Ji-hyun, however, told In-seok that she had seen her fiancé with her best friend. In-seok understood and told her to go home and rest, and come back to work tomorrow. Back home, Ji-hyun opened the door a crack and quickly got out of Eun-hee's body. She followed Sora all the way, wanting to find out the truth. Unexpectedly, Sora came to her house. Sora rummaged through Ji-hyun's house, but couldn't find the seal anywhere. Ji-hyun went to find Miho again to find out the truth. She followed him all the way to the door and discovered that the door code was still her birthday. She entered the house only to find that Sora was actually in Miho's house. After hearing the conversation, Ji-hyun realized that Miho not only wanted her land, but also wanted to take over her father's company. Desperate, Ji-hyun walks along the road, constantly thinking about her parents. She goes back and possesses Eun-hee, locking the door. Ji-hyun sits in the corner in despair. For 2 consecutive days, she has not possessed Eun-hee. She thought that the tears of true love would be easy to come by, but she found that everyone around her had betrayed her. Ji-hyun is at home, watching the decadent Eun-hee, thinking that she had also experienced something. At this time, Jaehyun appeared and said, "You haven't used Eun-hee's body for 2 days. Get ready for the reincarnation elevator. You no longer care about this world." Ji-hyun hurriedly apologized to Jaehyun and then went to the cafe. In-seok was very speechless about the miner's 2-day woman, but he found that Ji-hyun had become more stable when serving dishes. He said to the manager in surprise, "This woman was still a rookie 2 days ago, but now she is so good." When Ji-hyun returned home, she told Jaehyun that she wanted to go back to her house to get the stamp. Jaehyun said that he would not interfere with worldly matters, but he reminded Ji-hyun that she could use the password. So the next day, Ji-hyun possessed her body and came to her house. She used the password to unlock the door, put her shoes in her clothes, and sneaked into her room. She also started rummaging through her belongings to find the stamp. At that time, the doorbell rang, and Miho came to her house. Miho lied to Ji-hyun's mother that he wanted to take some previous belongings, like photos, and put them in the hospital to cheer Ji-hyun up. At this time, Ji-hyun had not yet found the seal, but Miho was walking step by step towards her room. Ji-hyun heard the noise and hurriedly ran away. At this time, Miho first took a few photos and then started rummaging through Ji-hyun's belongings, but he couldn't find Ji-hyun's seal no matter what. At this time, Ji-hyun's mother walked in and asked him to take the photos and leave quickly. Staying here for too long will only make people upset. Outside in the courtyard, Ji-hyun saw Miho sitting in the car, throwing a tantrum. Ji-hyun knew that he must not have found the stamp. She said to herself, "It's normal that you didn't find it. Even I couldn't find it." Ji-hyun walked along the road, really unable to remember where the stamp was. She tapped her head. She turned her head and saw Jaehyun sitting on the 2nd floor. She excitedly went up and found Jaehyun. Jaehyun said, "Why did you make Eun-hee's leg limp?" Ji-hyun grabbed Jaehyun's hand and startled him. Jaehyun said, "We haven't reached the point where we can hold hands." Then Ji-hyun started to complain that she couldn't find the stamp. Jaehyun got tired of listening and said, "I'm not a human. I don't have time to listen to you saying this here." The sad Ji-hyun walked to the cake shop. She still had her best friend Lucy, but she didn't know if Lucy really loved her. When Lucy came out, she only remembered that she was a waitress at the coffee shop. Then she took Ji-hyun to the store and bought some bread. When Ji-hyun returned to the coffee shop, In-seok saw that she was limping. In-seok then took an ice bucket and asked Ji-hyun to apply some ice. Then he gave Ji-hyun a bag. This was the bag that Ji-hyun had left here last time. Ji-hyun rummaged through the bag and found a whistle, which she blew. This reminded In-seok of Ji-hyun in high school. In-seok looked at Eun-hee at that moment and Ji-hyun back then. And it really seemed like, I can't stand employees like you anymore. Take out the salary and let Ji-hyun leave. But Jaehan had said that you can only spend the money you earn. Ji-hyun cried and said that you have become my support during this time. This method really works well. In-seok let Ji-hyun stay here. On the other side, the person who was negotiating with Miho said that if there is no seal, we can't continue with the cooperation. That night, Miho came to the cafe. Ji-hyun couldn't control herself and started to abuse Miho. Suddenly, the necklace around her neck turned red. At this time, Jaehan appeared and warned her not to show her true self. If the necklace around your neck breaks, everything will be over. After listening to Jaehan's words, Ji-hyun also became restrained. In the early morning, Eun-hee, who worked at the convenience store, found that her leg was lame. She felt very strange. Meanwhile, Sora and Miho were still discussing the stamp. They were talking about their previous plan. It turned out that Ji-hyun and Sora had been climbing the mountain with Miho following behind the whole time. Sora took Ji-hyun's phone and abandoned her in the rainstorm. Ji-hyun, who couldn't find her phone, hid under a tree. At this time, Miho appeared to rescue her. So Miho's love for Ji-hyun was also part of the plan. Ji-hyun, who happened to be nearby, trembled with fear. It turned out that everything was part of the plan. Facing Ji-hyun's sudden car accident disrupted their plan. Miho and Sora also started arguing. At this time, the extremely sad Ji-hyun was crying at the top of the stairs. Then she walked into the hospital and greeted the Sora family. It turns out that you are playing with my life and true heart just for money. Ji-hyun saw the kangaroo toy and suddenly remembered that she had put the seal in it. She hurriedly found Jaehan the next day and said that she wanted to get her own seal. It may violate the agreement, but just give me an hour. Then let me take the elevator again. On the other side, Miho led Ji-hyun's parents to the hospital. He asked Sora to continue looking for the stamp alone. However, the nurse at the hospital told them that stuffed animals were not allowed in the ward as they were not good for the patient's breathing. Ji-hyun, who had just arrived at the hospital, found that Miho had taken the stuffed animal. Sora, who had not found the stamp, remembered something while taking a taxi. At that time, Ji-hyun liked to hide things in stuffed animals. She quickly called Miho, but Miho was in a bad mood and didn't answer her phone. Meanwhile, Sora and Ji-hyun both got into the same taxi home. Ji-hyun arrived at her house first. She rang the doorbell and lied that she was Ji-hyun's friend. At that time, Sora was still on her way to Ji-hyun's house. Ji-hyun's mother was very unfamiliar with Eun-hee. She had never heard of her as her daughter's friend. At that time, the possessed Ji-hyun had to say that she was Ji-hyun's internet friend. She came to pick up the CD that Ji-hyun lent her and said some very personal things. It was only then that Ji-hyun's mother realized that Eun-hee was someone else. Ji-hyun then successfully obtained the stamp in her room and took a CD. She then took her camera and went downstairs to see her hardworking mother. Ji-hyun couldn't help but go up to comfort her and say things that Ji-hyun had wanted to say but never did. This deeply moved Ji-hyun's mother. At this time, Sora suddenly returned. Ji-hyun hid in Sora's blind spot by moving around. When Sora came into the room, of course the stamp had already been taken by Ji-hyun. Ji-hyun hurriedly went to the coffee shop and hid the stamp in the flower pot in In-seok's office. Then she told In-seok, "You won't be able to see me for another 42 days. This made In-seok increasingly pity the woman in front of him. In-seok immediately said, "How can you joke about your life?" Then he kept looking at Ji-hyun at work from time to time. When she was moving flowers, In-seok helped her. When Ji-hyun was wiping the glass, In-seok helped hold the stool. Miho, whose plans had repeatedly failed, was holding a tennis racket and venting furiously against a wall. Then he found Ji-hyun's father and confessed that he had not completed the contract before. If he wanted to sell Ji-hyun's land, he would have to make her a person without civil capacity. Miho said that he just wanted to be by Ji-hyun's side and handed in his resignation letter. That night, Ji-hyun and In-seok were having dinner. In-seok saw Ji-hyun pick out the bay leaf. He thought again about the original Ji-hyun who would also pick this out during meals. Ji-hyun looked at the affectionate uncle and wife and felt a sudden wave of inexplicable emotion and loss. Today was supposed to be the day she married Miho. How she wished she could cry out loud in front of someone. Jaehan appeared on the swing again for some reason, and waited for Ji-hyun to leave her body at the end of the night. Jaehan then took her to a clothing store. Because it was a special day, you can pick whatever you like here. And a happy Ji-hyun began to put on various outfits for Jaehan to watch a free fashion show. Ji-hyun was overjoyed after buying the clothes. Ji-hyun then went to the convenience store where Eun-hee worked, and saw a sleepy Eun-hee being scolded by her boss. Ji-hyun felt that she must have possessed the other person in order to be so tired. After work, Eun-hee was harassed by a man. Ji-hyun then realized how difficult it was to be Lee-hyun. Eun-hee had lived a lonely life like this for 5 years. Ji-hyun thought about her own parents. If she really disappeared, her parents would also be as sad as Eun-hee. Ji-hyun started the plan to find tears as soon as she saw the remaining time on her phone. She wrote down the names of her high school and college classmates, Lucy and In-seok. Ji-hyun went to a coffee shop to take some time to look up her classmates' phone numbers online, but then she thought that the coffee shop worked from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., so she wouldn't have any time to meet her classmates. So Ji-hyun wanted to ask In-seok to let her work as a freelance part-time worker. After a bit of arguing, In-seok agreed. On the other side, Miho pretended to make a phone call in front of Ji-hyun's father, and when he had achieved his goal, he hung up. Miho said that he would do anything for Ji-hyun, even if it meant staying by her side forever. Ji-hyun's father completely believed Miho. He could handle the company's affairs. Then Miho told his partner that the cooperation could continue to advance his plan. Miho came to the cafe, and Ji-hyun cast a disdainful glance at him again. He grabbed Ji-hyun and said, "You pretended to be close to me when I was drunk. Now you deliberately ignore and ridicule me. You have attracted my attention. But please stop. If you give me that look again, don't blame me for being rude." At that moment, Sara came over. Ji-hyun walked away without a problem. In-seok called Ji-hyun into his office and said to her, "How could you treat a customer like that? That person is the fiancé of my friend." Ji-hyun, who was taking the bus home, deleted the photos with Miho. She looked at the photos of Sora and shed tears. Ji-hyun knew that the other party had never considered her a friend. She suddenly had a plan. She had to hurry and collect tears to resurrect. Ji-hyun starts calling her classmates to get them to collect tears. When she gets home, Eun-hee wakes up and notices that her hair is a little different from when she went to bed. At this time, Ji-hyun quickly calls Jae-hun. Jae-hun, however, tells her not to call casually without an emergency. Eun-hee still feels that she may have seen it wrong. The next day, Ji-hyun, who was at a coffee shop, runs into her favorite beef bone soup. Her way of eating it shocks everyone, and she eats 2 big bowls directly. Suddenly, a child breaks the glass. The child kept crying in the same place. Ji-hyun went over and swept up the glass on the floor. Then she used a tissue to tear into strips, crumpled it into a ball, and gave it to the child. Then she opened it and it turned out to be a complete tissue again. In-seok was stunned as he watched. Memories flooded back. Back in high school, Ji-hyun had also performed the tissue trick for him. In-seok told the manager, "The more I look at Eun-hee, the more she looks like Ji-hyun." The same thing was said 3 times. He eats spaghetti with chopsticks and likes to pick his fingernails. This is literally a second Ji-hyun. So In-seok took flowers and went to Ji-hyun's hospital room again, looking at Ji-hyun lying in bed. It turned out that he had been thinking too much. On the other side, Ji-hyun found a good classmate and interviewed her as a reporter. Ji-hyun asked her classmate to talk about what had moved her the most before, and it would be best to have a moment of tears. As a result, after the classmate finished talking, the tears just wouldn't come out of her eyes. In the end, she even mocked Ji-hyun's fiancé, asking if he had backed out of the engagement. The first person in the plan had failed. Ji-hyun took the necklace and thought, "People are really hypocritical." She went to Lucy's store and bought some bread. After returning home, she wanted to give it to In-seok. In-seok's attitude at this time was bad. He understood that the woman in front of him was not Ji-hyun. He told Ji-hyun to come over and not come back after leaving. Ji-hyun couldn't say a word at this time and left with wet eyes. Ji-hyun returned home and found Jae-hun. She returned the 49,000 won she had borrowed and realized why Jae-hun was an extradition messenger. It turned out that Jae-hun had a dream, but an accident happened when he was about to fulfill it. So he volunteered to be an extradition messenger. After completing his 5-year term, he could do that thing. The next day, Ji-hyun discovered that Eun-hee had not gone to work all night. Jae-hun saw that she was sick and told Ji-hyun to quickly take her body and go to the hospital. Ji-hyun went to the hospital. After seeing the doctor, while crossing the street, Miho noticed that Ji-hyun had been paying attention to him. Ji-hyun was sitting on a bench because she felt unwell. Miho walked up to her and asked her to get into his car. He happened to be going to the coffee shop. When In-seok saw that Eun-hee had gotten out of Miho's car before, he turned around and went back to the office. He questioned Miho about why Eun-hee had gotten out of his car. Ji-hyun is still at the hospital. How could you do such a thing? Miho said, "Do you like Eun-hee?" In-seok then called Ji-hyun into his office and told her, "I let you work part-time so you could see Miho. I can't let you do that anymore." No matter how Ji-hyun tried to explain, In-seok decided to fire her. Ji-hyun came out and said goodbye to everyone. Miho intercepted her on the way out and said, "I know you got fired because of me. Why don't you come work as a nanny at my house?" Ji-hyun said, "How much can you pay me a day? Can I get an advance?" Miho didn't realize that he had made a joke, but the other party took it seriously. Ji-hyun said that for someone who needs money, the purpose of working part-time is to earn money. So Miho wrote his home address to Ji-hyun. He asked Ji-hyun to come to his house at 11 o'clock to start working. Ji-hyun immediately threw away the address. She decided to find the cooperation agreement at Miho's house. Subsequently, Ji-hyun came to the coffee shop and met a friend under another identity, but this person refused on the grounds that he was busy at work. Ji-hyun's plan for the second person also failed. Hungry, she ate a whole bowl of porridge in the store. When she finally looked at the menu, It cost 10,000 won. Thinking back to when she worked at Inseok's coffee shop, the work meal was still free. It really made Ji-hyun nostalgic. Ji-hyun told Eun-hee to go home and rest early. Eun-hee had just woken up and hurried to the convenience store, but the owner informed her that she had been fired because Ji-hyun had eaten 2 big bowls of beef bone soup last time. Eun-hee lost her job. As a result, Eun-hee, who had slept all night, couldn't sleep during the day. The next day, Ji-hyun, who was anxious to go to Miho's house to work, was unable to possess Eun-hee's body. At this time, Jaehan said, "It's all your fault for ruining Eun-hee's body. You just wait here for her to pull herself together." On the other side, Sora saw Miho in the elevator. Miho's attitude at this time was very cold. Sora remembered many years ago. She was walking home on the night road when she was suddenly kidnapped. It was Miho who chased after the kidnapper's car and saved her. Sora was still lingering on the past beautiful scene. Ji-hyun's father was told by the doctor that he had to have an operation for the disease he had. However, he refused the operation because he was worried that he would never see his daughter again. Miho successfully completed the contract with his partner in the meeting room. Everything was going according to plan. It seemed that everything was going very well. Ji-hyun finally managed to possess Eun-hee's body. She carried the suitcase and wanted to know Eun-hee's past. But Eun-hee suddenly woke up and Ji-hyun was directly ejected. After waking up, Eun-hee thought about her past. Her hair, her limp leg. She lifted up her pants and sure enough, there was a bruise all over. She looked at the shampoo and the suitcase again and felt that she might have schizophrenia. So she picked up the rope and skillfully tied it into a loop and hung it on the lampstand. Ji-hyun quickly called Jaehan. Jaehan said that I need to extradite someone here and there is no time to go over. Just then, someone knocked on the door. Eun-hee, who had hesitated for half a day, opened the door. It turned out to be a psychiatrist. Subsequently, Eun-hee was alone at home sleeping at night, eating instant noodles during the day just like this for 4 days. But Ji-hyun only had 34 days left. She just hoped that Eun-hee could pull herself together. She had no more time. Jaehan came up with a plan. At this time he used his smartphone to search for nearby coffee shops. Then he pretended to be a woman and went to the coffee shop to buy milk tea. Jaehan guessed exactly that the owner's mother died 3 months ago, and his dog went missing a month ago. It's his turn next. Jaehan told the owner that unless you hire a part-time night student, she must be a woman, no older than 30. Not too fat, and she can't smile. You can get through this difficult time. Then Eun-hee walked on the road. There were recruitment notices posted everywhere. They disappeared as she walked. Eventually, she saw one at the supermarket, and Eun-hee finally got a job at night. Ji-hyun possessed Miho's body and came to his house. Miho said, "You haven't come to work for 5 days. I've never seen such an arrogant nanny. You better clean the house properly." Ji-hyun rummaged through the house after Miho left but couldn't find the so-called document. Sara came to Miho's house to do some shopping and found a pair of women's shoes at the door. Ji-hyun explained that she was the nanny Miho hired. She asked Sora, "What are you doing here as a secretary? And how do you know Miho's house code?" Sara said, "I'm here to deliver something." Then she was rejected by Ji-hyun. With mixed emotions, Sara got off the elevator directly, and Miho happened to come up from the elevator across the street. When Miho returned home, he found Ji-hyun pouring the beef bone soup that Sora had delivered. Upon learning that Sora had just arrived, Miho was nonplussed. Then Sora called, and Ji-hyun heard the document in her hand. Miho lied to Sora and said, "I just finished a meeting. I'll pick you up at your house and we'll go out to eat together." Without waiting for Sora to ask, he hung up the phone. Miho told Ji-hyun to go home first and then went out the door. Ji-hyun waited for Miho to leave and then returned home again. She started rummaging through Miho's house looking for the folder, but she couldn't find it anywhere. Miho saw Sora and said, "Didn't I tell you not to just come in and out of my house? Do you know that Eun-hee worked at Inseok's coffee shop? What if she tells Inseok about us?" Sora asked, "Are you interested in Eun-hee?" Miho said, "How could I be? I've been with Ji-hyun for 2 years and I've never been serious. Don't be so sensitive." At this time, Ji-hyun used Eun-hee's body to come to the playground to run. She wanted to help Eun-hee exercise her weak body. Ji-hyun tells Jaehan that after being locked up in Eun-hee's house for 4 days, she realized how precious the remaining 33 days were. Then Eun-hee went to work at the coffee shop. The psychiatrist came out. He persuaded Eun-hee to come out of the shadows, but Eun-hee distracted herself and burned herself. The next day, when she returned home, Eun-hee took a photo as if remembering something, and her eyes slowly became moist. Ji-hyun, sitting nearby, saw the name on the back of the photo written the name of a boy. She guessed that this should be Eun-hee's younger brother. After Eun-hee fell asleep, Ji-hyun possessed her body and found that she had scalded her hand. When she arrived at Miho's house, Miho told her that if she was going to be a nanny, she had to do a good job and wash his clothes by hand. A series of harsh demands forced Ji-hyun to want to resign, but she couldn't forget the document Miho had taken that day, so she endured it. Miho saw the wound on Ji-hyun's hand and couldn't forget it at the company. Then he drove to go home. At this time, Sora came. Sora saw Miho just drive away and immediately called Miho. However, told her that he was in a meeting. Sora went up and learned from inquiring that Miho had gone home. She quickly went to find Inseok and tried to get Inseok to go to Miho's house. Ji-hyun happened to find the safe at home. At this time, Miho returned home. He bought ointment for Ji-hyun and suddenly smells a lake smell. It turns out that the porridge has been simmering for too long. Miho opens the door to ventilate. Inseok happens to be here. Inseok sees Ji-hyun and goes straight over to question her. I fired you and you come here to work? Don't you know whose home this is? Get out of here right now. But Ji-hyun looks at the location of the safe and says, I still want to work here. But in her heart, she silently apologizes to Inseok. Inseok returns to the coffee shop and angrily demolishes the office. Miho was happy with Ji-hyun's behavior because Ji-hyun couldn't cook, so he took Ji-hyun to the restaurant to eat. After dinner, Ji-hyun wondered if Miho had fallen for Eunhee. That night, Ji-hyun called Jaehyun again and asked him to help find Eunhee's brother. Jaehyun said, Can you not disturb my time? Ji-hyun said, Jaehyun is so heartless. Jaehyun said, I died at the age of 23. And you lived a rich life without any regrets. Then he looked deeply at Eunhee, and the screen froze at that moment. Jaehyun's eyes were also moist. Then he walked away. The next day, Ji-hyun frantically tried the safe combination at the famous house. She wrote dozens of sheets of paper with the 6-digit combination. There are 1 million combinations. She has 31 days to do it, and she has to press the combination 32,258 times a day. This is just too unrealistic. Ji-hyun takes out her calendar and counts the remaining days. But she discovers that today is Inseok's birthday. Miho takes Ji-hyun's father to the hospital. He discovers that Ji-hyun's father is constantly vomiting. At the doctor's, he learns the truth. Ji-hyun's father has a brain tumor. If he doesn't have surgery soon, he won't have much time. He had planned to have the surgery after Miho and Ji-hyun got married. But now he wants to wait until his daughter wakes up before having the operation. But Ji-hyun is not going to wake up at all. This fatherly love is really too heavy. Ji-hyun went to the coffee shop and gave the lunchbox she made for Inseok to the wife of the uncle. Inseok found clams in the kelp soup when he was eating. He asked the uncle, Have you asked my mother? How do you know I like this? The uncle said, This is from Eunhee. Inseok remembered his high school self. Ji-hyun had clams in the seaweed soup when she ate with him, so he drove quickly to find Ji-hyun. He arrived at Miho's house and knocked on the door frantically. Ji-hyun had no choice but to open the door. Inseok didn't wait for Ji-hyun to undo her apron before pulling her out. Ji-hyun quickly told him to let go of her hand. Inseok saw that her hand was hurt and said angrily, I absolutely won't let you stay at Miho's house. He asked Ji-hyun, Do you still want to stay here? Ji-hyun shook her head. Inseok drove her away directly. Ji-hyun started working at Inseok's coffee shop again. Inseok felt very comfortable watching Ji-hyun working on the second floor. Meanwhile, Miho rang the doorbell at his own house several times, but there was no response, so he opened the door lock, but found clothes scattered on the floor. He couldn't find Ji-hyun at home, so he hurried to Inseok's cafe and said that Ji-hyun suddenly disappeared from my house. Miho asked Inseok for Ji-hyun's address. Inseok said, Didn't you see the text message I sent you? Miho opened it and saw that it said, I took Eunhee. Inseok dragged Miho into the office and began a confrontation. Have you forgotten who you are? Ji-hyun is still in the hospital. Miho said, I can't guard her forever. I don't need to continue loving someone who I can't go forward with in the future. At this time, Lucy and Sora came. Today is Inseok's birthday. They sang a birthday song to Inseok together. Just then, Ji-hyun came over. She returned the thermos that Sora gave Miho. This thermos was the one that was filled with beef bone soup at the time. Lucy, however, looked doubtful. Isn't this mine? When Ji-hyun was about to speak, Sora called her out. Ji-hyun said, Why didn't you let me say you went to Miho's house? Isn't your boyfriend Miho? At this time, Inseok came out. Ji-hyun gave him a gesture, which reminded Inseok of the old Ji-hyun. At this time, Ji-hyun received a call from her high school classmates. They were willing to be interviewed. When the hospital learned that Ji-hyun's father had a short time to live, he prepared a will to hand over the company to Miho after his death. The next day, the lawyer returned to the company and brought a document to give to Ji-hyun's father. Sora opened it and saw the contents of the will and then told Miho. Miho, however, said that we would wait and see. On the other side, Ji-hyun met with her high school classmates. She still interviewed them as Minju. Ji-hyun looked at these three close friends and felt that there should be hope this time. When talking about the past with Ji-hyun, the three women began to cry loudly. Ji-hyun was overjoyed, but when she looked down, there wasn't a single tear in her necklace. She remembered what Jaehyun had said at the funeral. The person who cries for you doesn't necessarily love you. Ji-hyun asked her three classmates why they were crying. One said she was sad because she was tired. Another cried out of schadenfreude because Ji-hyun was a rich girl who was now a vegetable. And the last one cried because she had failed plastic surgery twice. Ji-hyun, who had just left the restaurant, saw her supposed best friend walking sadly down the street. She took out her notebook and crossed out all the names. At that moment, Lucy ran over to tell Inseok that Ji-hyun's father was going to make a will and give the company to Miho. After hearing the news, Ji-hyun hurriedly ran away. Just then, Jae-hun appeared. Ji-hyun wanted Jae-hun to help her figure out how to stop her father from making a will. Jae-hun said, I can let you touch something once, but I'll deduct 1 day from the 49 days. Ji-hyun hurried home and thought about her plan. She first went to buy a file bag and then left it with Yoonhee's boss where she worked. Ji-hyun's soul left Yoonhee's body. Then she followed the delivery boy. The envelope said, File for the president. Sara handed it to the president, who was about to sign the will. Ji-hyun's father opened it and saw that it said that a woman in the United States had awakened after being a vegetable for 20 years, but he still wanted to stamp it. Ji-hyun knocked the stamp over it this time. Then the mirror behind it fell over. This time, it was Jae-hun who did it. Ji-hyun's father felt that heaven did not want him to sign, so it delayed the signing of the will. At this time, Jae-hun, who had just walked out of the company, looked left and right. An ant on a motorcycle on the road sped up. After she got off the motorcycle, she grabbed Jae-hun and beat him up. She grabbed him by the collar and said, Who told you to interfere with the affairs of the world? Then she told him to delay your 1-week term as punishment. Ji-hyun suddenly left, which made In-seok very worried. He followed the address and found Yoonhee's house. When Ji-hyun's soul ran back, Eun-hee had already awakened. Eun-hee saw that the door was open, so she went to see a psychiatrist. In front of the supermarket, she and In-seok passed each other. In-seok went to Yoonhee's house and knocked on the door. No one answered. Eun-hee told the doctor about the strange things that had happened recently. The doctor said it might be sleepwalking. The next day, Ji-hyun came to the coffee shop and found a piano, so she played and sang. At this time, she heard In-seok upstairs listening to her. Memories flooded back. In high school, he was in the classroom and Ji-hyun was singing the same song. He looked at Eun-hee's body and it looked exactly like Ji-hyun in high school. In-seok walked up to her and asked if she was Ji-hyun. Ji-hyun was afraid that if she told the truth, her necklace would break, so she tried her best to explain that she was not her. In-seok said, You obviously are not Ji-hyun, but why do you look like her? The man next to him couldn't stand it anymore and came over to distract In-seok. He told Ji-hyun that this piano was the only thing left from In-seok's mother. Ji-hyun arrives at Lucy's cake shop. Lucy invites her to try the new varieties. Ji-hyun's way of speaking and reactions make Lucy feel very strange. Later, she will be curious about the thermos. Ji-hyun thinks that Lucy is slowly forgetting her too. In the hospital, Ji-hyun's father suddenly has blurred vision. He holds onto a stool and sits down to eat. He is having convulsions. His condition is getting worse. Ji-hyun, who bought bread, goes to the hospital to find her father, but she found her father lying on the hospital bed. Ji-hyun walked sadly in the hospital and met Miho, who walked away with disdain. Miho looked at Ji-hyun's father's condition and had to tell Ji-hyun's mother. Ji-hyun's mother looked at the father and daughter on the hospital bed and felt like the sky was about to collapse. The next morning, there were 26 days left. Ji-hyun couldn't wait for Eun-hee to come home no matter what. It turned out that Eun-hee went to the doctor to check her sleep. In her dream, Eun-hee and her brother were lying in a field, happy and holding each other. They were so happy at that moment. Later the doctor told Eun-hee that there was nothing abnormal with her sleep brainwaves. In-seok saw Ji-hyun at the coffee shop. At this time she had not yet come to work. He was very worried and went to Ji-hyun's house again. When he arrived at the door, he met Eun-hee, who had just finished her examination. In-seok said hello, but Eun-hee questioned who he was. In-seok was confused at this time. Could it be a twin? Ji-hyun immediately possessed Eun-hee as soon as she returned. At this time, Ji-hyun's father, whose condition deteriorated, chose to sign his will. Ji-hyun's mother asked Lucy and Sora to come to the house and told them the truth about Ji-hyun's father's brain tumor. Lucy's choice was to go to the hospital immediately, but Sora wanted to go see Miho. Ji-hyun, after possessing Eun-hee, hurried to Miho's house. She used the birthdays of many people to continue trying the safe deposit box password, but found that Miho had returned. At this time, Sora came again. Miho told Ji-hyun to stay in the bedroom and not go out. Sora said, Why didn't you tell me that Ji-hyun's father had a brain tumor? Ji-hyun, who was behind the door, heard everything clearly. Sora then said, Hurry up and let Ji-hyun's father's company go bankrupt. Take over the island project and let's leave this place together. Ji-hyun, who had heard the truth, trembled and cried behind the door. Miho came in at this time. Ji-hyun, who was holding back her tears, looked at him as he took the file, and after he left, Ji-hyun began to cry out loud, constantly shouting for her father. Ji-hyun found Jae-hun at night and said, Why are the tears of true love? My friends may love me, why don't they shed tears? Jae-hun said, You are always blaming others, have you ever thought about yourself? Can you shed tears of true love for others? Jae-hun said people's hearts will always change. In-seok is very curious about Ji-hyun's identity, and he goes to Yoonhee's neighborhood again. Eun-hee only gives In-seok a glance as she goes out for her night shift. In-seok follows her all the way to the coffee shop. He wonders how Eun-hee can work 2 jobs. Yoonhee's strangeness makes In-seok feel unbelievable. After Eun-hee gets off work, Ji-hyun starts to say goodbye to her. Ji-hyun, after possessing Eun-hee, cleaned Yoonhee's house carefully and wrote a letter to her father and Eun-hee. Ji-hyun dressed up very beautifully and prepared to reveal her identity and go to the extradition round. She went to the coffee shop to say goodbye to them one by one. However, In-seok thought she was going to find Miho. What is your true face? He directly told Ji-hyun to leave. Ji-hyun cried as she walked along the road. She didn't say goodbye to In-seok seriously. She went to her house, listening to her father's explanation about not having the operation because of her. She couldn't hold back her tears. The man in the coffee shop was cleaning the flower pots when he found Ji-hyun's seal. Lonely and helpless, Ji-hyun looked so small on the crowded street. Suddenly, the necklace around her neck lit up. A tear of true love appeared inside. In-seok thought, Ji-hyun has never been in my room, so how could she have left her seal? So he thought of Eun-hee. That person must be Ji-hyun. In-seok drove while remembering the past few days. There is no doubt that person is Ji-hyun. He arrived at the hospital and looked at Ji-hyun in the hospital bed. In-seok said, so it was you, Ji-hyun. You have been by my side for this. In-seok shed a tear of true love. Ji-hyun's heartbeat quickened. In-seok took Ji-hyun's hand and said, although I don't know what happened to you, I'm so happy to see you. The happy Ji-hyun on the other side hugged Jaehyun and said, I finally collected a tear. She said she felt that this tear was shed for her by Lucy. Ji-hyun came to the cake shop and said to Lucy with the same reason she let her eat the cake last time. Thank you. At this time, Sora walked in. Ji-hyun thought about what she had said at Miho's house and cast a disdainful glance before walking away. Miho was distracted during the company meeting, thinking about what happened that day and letting Ji-hyun know everything. In-seok couldn't find Ji-hyun after leaving the hospital. He went to Ji-hyun's house and knocked on the door frantically. When he turned around, Ji-hyun walked down the stairs step by step. In-seok shouted her name. Hearing this, Ji-hyun took a few steps back. In-seok grabbed Ji-hyun's arm and said, You're Ji-hyun. What happened to you? Ji-hyun wondered how he knew who she was. Then the necklace suddenly became hot. She hurriedly explained, I'm Eun-hee, not Ji-hyun. In-seok looked at Ji-hyun and thought, so you can't be honest about who you are. In-seok waited until dark in front of Ji-hyun's house. When Ji-hyun returned home, she found Eun-hee's postcard. It was Jack's birthday greeting to Eun-hee. She then remembered that Eun-hee was an orphan. Then this person is not his younger brother. In-seok watched Eun-hee go out to work the night shift and waited until dawn. Eun-hee finished work and saw Ji-hyun behind her and ran out again. Only then did he learn the truth. Ji-hyun was living through Eun-hee's body. He then asked Ji-hyun to go back to work at the coffee shop. He offered to raise her salary by 50%. She could come and go as she pleased. Back at the coffee shop, In-seok asked the owner about a legend he had heard called 49 Days. It was about a soul wandering for 49 days or something, but the uncle said it was told by a wise man at a temple. So In-seok is going to the temple the next day. Miho came to find Ji-hyun again and explained what happened that day. But then he got a phone call. There was a problem at the factory. Ji-hyun overheard this. Miho needs to go on a business trip the next day and called Sora to tell her. Sora came to find In-seok at this time, but she found that In-seok also needs to go to the factory the next day. Sora said, it just so happens that Lucy and I are going there tomorrow night. Let's have dinner together. When she got back, she told Lucy about it, because she knew that Lucy liked In-seok. The next day after work, Eun-hee went to the psychiatrist's office and underwent hypnosis, but she saw Ji-hyun's spirit in her house. After waking up, Eun-hee was panicked. When Eun-hee got home, Ji-hyun possessed her body and was about to go to the factory, but Jaehyun stopped her. Jaehyun said, you started messing around when you used someone else's body. Ji-hyun, however, asked if you were worried about me or Eun-hee. Jaehyun couldn't say a word after hearing this. Subsequently, In-seok drove to the factory. Ji-hyun also prepared to go with him. Lucy and Sora also set off at this time. The five of them went to the same place. After In-seok arrived, he went to the temple to find a master. Miho went to run an errand and asked Ji-hyun to go alone. Ji-hyun ran into In-seok. She said she was here with Miho. In-seok was still thinking that she should still like Miho. Then they both received a phone call at the same time. Sora called In-seok and made a dinner appointment for 6:30. Miho called Ji-hyun and asked to meet at the Sakura Pavilion at 7 p.m. Sora sent a text asking Miho when he would be done. Miho sent a text back saying that he had a dinner appointment that night. Sora tells Lucy that she will leave once In-seok arrives to give you two some space, and adds that she received a text saying Mayor Min knows you're coming here. Meet at the Sakura Road Pavilion at 7 o'clock. Miho waits for Ji-hyun at 7 o'clock, and he is walking with a smile on his face. On the road, Sora also arrives here, and Ji-hyun suddenly sees a flash in front of her eyes. Her soul pops out of Eun-hee's body. At this time, Eun-hee said to Miho, who are you? Ji-hyun, who was panicking, quickly called out to Jaehyun. At this time, Sora also appeared here. Miho quickly pulled Sora away. In-seok also happened to appear. He seemed to sense that Ji-hyun had already come out. He said to Eun-hee, I will explain to you. Eun-hee looked at the Cherry Blossom Road at this time, and the memories of her time with Jack came to mind. They walked together on the Cherry Blossom Road, so in love. At this time, Sora said to Miho, what the hell are you doing here? Miho has always been concerned about Eun-hee, who just fainted, and quickly ran back. Jaehyun said to Ji-hyun, This is not your fault. Eun-hee woke up on her own. I can treat her memories today as a dream, but you have to deduct 1 day from your 49 days. In-seok followed Eun-hee at this time. Jaehyun and Ji-hyun also rushed over. They looked at the scene at this time and it was as if they had returned to high school. Ji-hyun and In-seok were setting up a stall to tell fortunes for others. Eun-hee came over and asked Jack to draw a card. Unexpectedly, Jack drew a picture of the two of them looking at each other. Ji-hyun told them that it meant you will be in love forever, you are the perfect lovers of destiny. Then Eun-hee and Jack sat on the bench. Jack held a rose and said sweet nothings to Eun-hee with a deep meaning on her forehead. Eun-hee, who had regained consciousness, woke up and fell to the ground. At this time, Jaehyun supported Eun-hee. Eun-hee glanced at Jaehyun and she fainted. Tears rolled down her cheeks. Jaehyun gently wiped away Eun-hee's tears. He quickly told Ji-hyun to possess Eun-hee. After possessing Eun-hee, Ji-hyun said to In-seok, "What are you doing here?" In-seok thought to himself, this should be Ji-hyun. Then he took Ji-hyun to dinner. Mi-ho, who had run back to the original location, couldn't find Ji-hyun anywhere. He quickly called Ji-hyun, but his phone was disconnected by In-seok. Mi-ho ended up driving Sora and the drunk Lucy home together. Unexpectedly, halfway there, they saw Ji-hyun and In-seok, who had just come out of the club. Mi-ho thought to himself, why is In-seok here? It was time for the night shift. Eun-hee, who had a bit of a temper, walked in and scolded the two young people. When she looked in the mirror, she realized that it was Jaehyun who had replaced Eun-hee on the night shift. When Mi-ho returned to Sora's house, he confessed that he was attracted to Eun-hee. However, Sora said, "We've been in a relationship for 5 years, and you've done this kind of thing?" Then they started arguing. The drunk Lucy seemed to have heard something. Ji-hyun, who had returned home, lay on the bed. Since Eun-hee's memory had been erased that day, Ji-hyun slept in Eun-hee's body that night. Mi-ho, who couldn't find Ji-hyun, came to In-seok's place. Unexpectedly, In-seok punched him in the collar and then punched him again and again. Feeling the pain in his hand, he stopped. In-seok said, "When did you and Sora start? Why are you such a person? I really misjudged you." Then In-seok and Dae-soo discussed the fact that they had already known about the 49 days at the master. Ji-hyun said when she first looked for him that she could only work for 48 days. Every time she sensed her identity, she was afraid. Then In-seok took out Ji-hyun's seal and pondered why she was hiding it. Early the next morning, Sora discovered that the person who had sent her a text message that day was actually a stranger. Then she called and it turned out to be Ji-hyun. Ji-hyun asked Sora to meet her at a coffee shop and said, "I just want you to see me with Mi-ho." "Why do you want Ji-hyun's family's property?" She directly revealed Sora and Mi-ho's conspiracy. In-seok apologizes to Lucy after breaking the contract, but Lucy says she heard last night that Sora and Mi-ho have been dating for 5 years, and In-seok keeps thinking about it on the way home. So Mi-ho deliberately approached Ji-hyun, and Ji-hyun knew about it after the accident. It turns out that Ji-hyun didn't approach Mi-ho because she liked him, but for another reason. At this time, Sora said to Mi-ho, "You've been deceived. That woman texted me to let me see the two of you. There are only 20 days left." This time, when Eun-hee was possessed before, she actually opened her eyes, and then closed them again. Ji-hyun possessed her body. In-seok came to the hospital to visit Ji-hyun, but was kicked out by her father. He also learned that Ji-hyun's father had a brain tumor. In-seok asked Ji-hyun's mother what Mi-ho had done with the seal that day. Ji-hyun's mother said that it was because she wanted to sell Ji-hyun's land, and drove back. In-seok already knew everything at this point. Ji-hyun hid the seal in his house because she couldn't let Mi-ho get it. Mi-ho never intended to marry Ji-hyun in the first place. In-seok thought about Ji-hyun running around at the crossroads of life and death. What can I do to help? When he saw Ji-hyun walking on the road, he got out of the car and walked towards her and hugged her tightly. Ji-hyun's eyes closed and she enjoyed the warmth she hadn't felt in a long time. Suddenly she pushed In-seok away and said, "What are you doing? Why are you hugging me?" In-seok said, "I saw you looking so down." This is a comforting hug. While they were talking, someone not far away had been watching for a long time. The other person also took a picture of them hugging. Back at the coffee shop, In-seok knew that Ji-hyun was a big eater. He ordered a lot of food for Ji-hyun on the pretext of trying the food. He told Ji-hyun, "Eating delicious food like this, or getting revenge by getting angry, or going to love someone. If you die, you can't do anything, so being alive is more important than anything else." In-seok knows Ji-hyun's identity but can't tell her the truth. He can only comfort her like this. Ji-hyun is thinking, In-seok must have found out something. Mi-ho is very surprised when he sees the photo his subordinate gave him. Jaehyun is listening to music on a park bench. Ji-hyun runs over to tell him that In-seok seems to know something. "He used to always suspect me, but now he's being especially nice to me." Jaehyun said that In-seok might be in love with Eun-hee. "You're so pitiful that you have to become a ghost to taste the real thing." Then he told Ji-hyun, "After you come back to life, you'll forget everything that happened in the past 49 days. Ji-hyun thought, "I definitely can't let Mi-ho go. If I come back to life, I'll have to marry Mi-ho again." Sora was at home alone. but she was thinking about someone. That person was Minju. It was because she saw a classmate she had interviewed before in the hospital, who said that the interviewer was Ji-hyun's friend Minju, and Ji-hyun's mother also mentioned this person. Sora decided to investigate. In the coffee shop, Ji-hyun learned that the flower pot had been repotted and hurried to In-seok's office. Her eyes kept staring at the potted plant where the seal was hidden. In-seok later told her that the potted plant had not been moved. Miho came to In-seok's coffee shop and saw the two of them hugging again. He felt very complicated, but then Ji-hyun followed Miho and left. Her mind was always on the safe. She had to find a way to open it. Miho returned home and found Sora in his house. She told Miho that Minju had probably been following them, but Miho said, "I like Eunhee. We've only ever talked about plans and business. We've never talked about feelings. My feelings for you have cooled. I thought you felt the same way." Sora then saw Miho's true face. The next day after work, Eunhee accepted the doctor's hypnosis again. The images of her and Jack mixed with the scene of Ji-hyun being possessed. She woke up and said, "Something strange seemed to have happened to me, but I can't seem to talk about it." After returning home, Eunhee's arms suddenly hit Ji-hyun while hanging up clothes. Ji-hyun was so scared that she quickly crouched down. Sora found Minju's phone number and was about to dial it. She discovered that the number was actually marked as Eunhee, so she went to the hospital and called Ji-hyun's mother to come to the coffee shop. In-seok warmly received them. He then quickly called Ji-hyun. This is Ji-hyun's chance to get along with her mother. When Ji-hyun returned, her mother kept calling her Minju. Ji-hyun, whose identity had been revealed, kept trembling. After running out, she was still being pursued by Sora. In-seok came to the rescue at this time and said that Eunhee was Ji-hyun's friend and Minju was her online name. He then told Sora, "I know about your relationship with Miho. You took advantage of Ji-hyun's mom, and that's really too much." Ji-hyun, whose identity had been revealed, arrived at Miho's house before Sora. She confessed that she was Ji-hyun's friend and pointed out his relationship with Sora. Miho was very surprised when he heard this. Sora also arrived at this time, but Miho directly sent her away. Subsequently, Miho questioned In-seok, "Did you know that she was Ji-hyun's friend?" In-seok said, "Not only do I know, I like her." Ji-hyun, who was desperate to find out the password, stayed in Miho's house as a spirit for 3 days. However, Miho never opened the safe. Ji-hyun saw Eunhee on the way back and shouted her name. Eunhee hurriedly ran home as if she had heard it. She kept thinking about the dream that day, the scene of Jaehyun hugging her, and then began to cry bitterly. Ji-hyun, who was watching Eunhee, who was so sad, and began to cry with Eunhee. Ji-hyun, who was following behind, opened Eunhee's graduation album, thinking that there should be a message from Jack in it. Unexpectedly, she really found Jack's message, but as she looked at the photo, she wondered how Jaehyun looked so much like him. Ji-hyun quickly found Jaehyun and opened the album, pointing to Jack's photo. Jaehyun looked at the photo of himself and asked what was going on. Ji-hyun said that Eunhee's favorite person was actually you. She also took out the postcard that Jack had given Eunhee, with a heart on it to confirm that they had loved each other. Eunhee used to cry and shout Jack's name at home, but Jaehyun couldn't remember at all, because the extradition messenger was restricted from remembering things in the world before completing his term. The face of the extradition messenger would automatically turn into another face when he appeared in front of someone he knew in life. Ji-hyun said that if you appeared in front of Eunhee, you would know the truth. Jaehyun then ponders the recent days in his room. He then calls his boss to ask if he can know my wish in advance. As a result, Jaehyun was scolded by his boss. Sora came to Miho and asked him what you really think. Miho chose to abandon Sora. Sora said, "You loved me for less than a month, but I loved you for 5 whole years." Sad. Sora left directly. She went back to the company to check Minju's online name but found a message from Ji-hyun. Minju passed away a year ago. Then who is Eunhee? At this time, Ji-hyun, who had stayed at Miho's house for 3 days, went to work at the coffee shop. Then she received a call from Sora. When she left, she accidentally dropped a letter from her shoes to her father. Then In-seok picked it up. The letter is a letter Ji-hyun wrote to her father. The content is that Miho colluded with others to take over the company, and Ji-hyun asked her father not to give the company to Miho and hurry up with the surgery. In-seok took out the resignation letter that Ji-hyun had written. Unexpectedly, it was a farewell letter. At that moment, he finally understood Miho's plan. Ji-hyun said to Sora, "Why did you do this?" Sora said, "You can only blame Ji-hyun for being so stupid and naive." Then, Sora found In-seok and happened to see the resignation letter. When she looked at the notes, she realized that they were exactly the same as Ji-hyun's. Moreover, the name written on the card was Eunhee. She quickly made a copy. When she got home, Sora found the postcard Ji-hyun had written to her before, and the handwriting was the same. In-seok came to the hospital at this time to persuade Ji-hyun's father to have the surgery as soon as possible. He told him, "You don't want to think about it, but Ji-hyun's ghost may be watching you right now. If you don't have the surgery, how sad she will be. If she wakes up one day, she will feel guilty for the rest of her life." Miho was at the hospital at this time, looking at his mother through the glass, but he was afraid to see her. Then Ji-hyun asked Miho to have dinner together. She asked about Miho's mother's birthday, thinking that the safe deposit box password should be available. After returning home, Eun-hee woke up and worked at a coffee shop. A little fat man outside the door kept staring at her. Jae-hyun appeared in front of Eun-hee and turned into another face. He kept looking at Eun-hee and couldn't imagine that he had really loved her before. When Jae-hyun took the coffee, his eyes were wet. He seemed to really know her. The next day, Ji-hyun, who was following her, couldn't find the letter for her father. She then realized that there was a hole in her bag. Ji-hyun thought that if her father received the letter, she would have broken the first promise. Then the necklace around her neck suddenly broke, and her soul popped out of Yoonhee's body. Jae-hyun appeared at this time and told her that the 49-day trip was over. Scared, Ji-hyun quickly shook her head. It turned out to be a fantasy. Ji-hyun's father told his wife that he had decided to have surgery. Ji-hyun also learned this news after arriving at the hospital. Mom told Ji-hyun that thanks to In-seok, and he would come every day to deliver roses. Ji-hyun, who knew the truth, was so happy that she kept crying after going out. After returning to the coffee shop, In-seok asked her to change into her work clothes and secretly slipped the letter into her bag. Ji-hyun saw the letter and quickly ran out. She found Jae-hyun and said, "What if In-seok sees the letter?" Jae-hyun said that he knew your identity before he saw the letter, so your necklace did not break. Ji-hyun remembered In-seok's recent behavior. It turned out that In-seok liked not Eun-hee but herself. In-seok, who knew the truth, immediately made an appointment with Miho. He asked Miho why he wanted to harm Ji-hyun's family. Miho said, "I want to change my fate. Our family has had too much bad luck." It turned out that Miho had a miserable life. He was beaten by his father every day. He could not eat until the age of 4. His mother did all the farm work in the village, while his father gambled away the little money they had. When he was 13, his father died of depression. He and his mother fled the place happily overnight. Miho said, "My situation is known only to me. Why do you judge me when you haven't experienced it?" In-seok said, "No matter how hard your life is, this is wrong. You must be stopped. Your past life is heartbreaking, but you can't let innocent people pay the price." Sora then approached Miho and said that she felt Eun-hee was Ji-hyun. Miho thought her statement was absurd. The next day he met with Ji-hyun but noticed that Ji-hyun's shoes looked familiar. So Miho bought a pair and took the old shoes home. He remembered the object he picked up in front of the hotel and took out the shoes to compare. He remembered that the waiter said there was a strange woman sitting in a daze in front of the door. Miho remembered what Sora had said and followed her to Ji-hyun's house. At this time Eun-hee came out for her night shift and glanced at Miho before leaving directly. Miho followed her to the coffee shop and questioned her about who she really was. At this time Eun-hee panicked and quickly turned around. Her eyes were darting as Miho kept asking her questions. At this time the psychiatrist came over and got Miho to leave. Eun-hee told the doctor that she didn't know him, but when he called my name I couldn't help but say his name. He's someone I met during hypnosis. He gives me a bad feeling. The doctor said you may have multiple personalities. Eun-hee said, "Someone I live with is a ghost. I feel that she is worried about me. This is the first time after Jack that I feel someone cares about me." Then Eun-hee talked about her past. Since she was young, she was abandoned by her mother at the train station. She was then sent to an orphanage. At the age of 5, she still didn't know her name. At that time, a little boy ran over and gave her a chocolate. He was Jack. He was abandoned when he was born. He gave me a name, Eun-hee. We grew up together. He was there for me for 18 years. Then he abandoned me. He died 15 days later. I still have so much to tell him. I was abandoned by my mother. Because of Jack, I forgot. Because Jack abandoned me, I can't trust anyone. I'm a nobody. Jae-hyun is there. He finds himself in tears. When the doctor comes out, Miho drives after him. There are only 13 days left. Today is Ji-hyun's father's surgery. Ji-hyun can't wait to possess Yoonhee's body. In-seok is actually waiting for her at the door to go to the hospital together. Ji-hyun takes advantage of Yoonhee's body to give her father a deep hug. Then she bursts into tears in front of the hospital room. In-seok comforts her all the while. At this time, Miho arrives. Miho says, "Why are you taking my woman?" Then he takes Ji-hyun, and In-seok is behind him, clenching his fists, wondering what Ji-hyun is going to do. Then Eun-hee, who had come to the coffee shop, heard that today was the anniversary of In-seok's mother's death. She was at the hospital, so concerned about Ji-hyun's father. Her father was being taken into the operating room. Ji-hyun and her mother were praying. In-seok's lawyer found out that the contract Miho signed with them might be fake. There was a transfer of funds involved. Miho found the waiter from In-seok's restaurant. He asked him to do him a favor on the condition that he would be employed after graduation. Ji-hyun, who was waiting outside the hospital, noticed an old man with a necklace of true love tears around his neck. It turned out that he was also a 49-day traveler. The old man was very envious of Ji-hyun's tears, but he only had 1 day left. He regretted not having found tears. If he had Ji-hyun's remaining 13 days, he would have thanked his wife properly and seen his mother one last time. His time was running out. Then he walked away. Ji-hyun's father's surgery was a complete success, but he still needed to be monitored overnight. In-seok hurried to find Ji-hyun to tell her the good news. That night, Ji-hyun and In-seok worshipped In-seok's mother together in front of the piano. In-seok said that he used to be very rebellious and always made his mother angry. When his mother was in the final stages of cancer, he naively continued to make his mother angry. After that, He went to study in the United States, and his mother passed away alone in her hometown. In-seok and Ji-hyun told each other their hearts. Mi-ho, who was outside the door, saw it all. He remembered what the psychiatrist had said. Eun-hee said that she was possessed by a woman. Mi-ho just couldn't believe it was Ji-hyun. After returning home, Mi-ho was still adamant that it wasn't the Ji-hyun he knew when questioned by Sora. Ji-hyun, who came to the hospital at night, called out for her father. As if he heard her, her father opened his eyes. It looked as if he saw Ji-hyun, and tears welled up in his eyes. Ji-hyun hurried back and told Eun-hee, even though she couldn't hear, Ji-hyun was willing to share the success of her father's surgery. Back home, Lucy saw a midnight call from Mi-ho. She realized that Sora had been dating Mi-ho the whole time. Lucy gave Sora a good scolding. The next day, Eun-hee's subordinate told Min-ho that Eun-hee had been working part-time at In-seok's place during the day, and at the coffee shop at night, barely getting any sleep. Min-ho made a phone call and said that it was time to start the plan. Jae-yoon went to the restaurant where Eun-hee had worked. Through communication, she learned about Jack and Eun-hee's past. The waiter gave her Eun-hee's old things. At this time, Sara called and made an appointment with Jae-yoon. At the coffee shop, she told Jae-yoon, I got beaten up by Lucy. I'm not afraid of anyone knowing about me anymore. She tells Ji-hyun why she wants to do this plan because she and Ji-hyun were born differently. Ji-hyun buys new clothes and gives them to her to wear. Her boyfriend would break up with her for Ji-hyun. Ji-hyun's naive and blind kindness makes her feel more and more miserable. Sara also wants Ji-hyun to feel the same way. She doesn't have a rich dad like Ji-hyun, so she asked Mi-ho to ruin Ji-hyun. You said you were sincere with me, then give me your company too. Sara left after saying that, leaving Ji-hyun alone, who kept crying. Ji-hyun was going through Eun-hee's belongings when she found a photo of Jack with another woman. She angrily rebuked Jae-hun for being so unprofessional in relationships. You broke up with Eun-hee because of this woman. Jae-hun kept explaining that me and this woman are nothing. Ji-hyun said, just because you say you have nothing to do with him doesn't mean there really is nothing. But she became Eun-hee's expression and said the same thing again. Jae-hun said frantically that there was nothing between me and that woman. And then Ji-hyun and Eun-hee's expression switched back and forth. Jae-hun was in tears at this point, screaming Eun-hee's name and slowly raising his left hand. Ji-hyun quickly broke his hand to let him know that he was not mistaken. She asked Jae-hun if he remembered something. Jae-hun said, I've never seen this photo. Ji-hyun said that she found it in Eun-hee's drawer. Jae-hun cried and recalled the past. Jack, who used to be in the music industry, was always very rude to Eun-hee. That was the last time Eun-hee found him. Eun-hee said to Jack, are you playing music or playing with women? In her phone, she only clutched a photo of Jack and another woman. Jack stood up and looked down on Eun-hee's appearance at this time, saying, I have nothing to do with other women. Eun-hee said, just because you don't think there is anything, doesn't mean there isn't anything. Jack said, I want to marry you. If I look at your face for another 30 or 40 years, I'll feel suffocated. Eun-hee left in tears. Then Jack had to go on a 2-week tour. He didn't say goodbye to Eun-hee and rode off on his motorcycle. He performed at night and worked at a construction site during the day, carrying bricks. On the way home, he bought a pair of rings. Jack rode his motorcycle back home, feeling the warm sunshine. He picked up the pair of rings and thought about Eun-hee's expression when she received them. He was so happy. When suddenly a truck came from the opposite direction and Jack was knocked to the ground. Memories of the past now came flooding back to him. He kept shaking on the ground, and his eyes looked at the rings that had fallen to the ground not far away. With tears in his eyes, his trembling right hand tried to reach for them, but he couldn't, and he left this world like this. Jae-hun only realized at this time that he and Eun-hee still had misunderstandings to resolve before he died. This photo must have been taken by a woman while he was sleeping. At this time, the uncles and aunts at the coffee shop were having a quarrel. The uncle shed tears. The aunt said, he really loves me. The uncle, who had never cried before, shed tears. This was seen by In-seok, who was nearby. He thought of wearing a necklace in the shape of a tear. It turned out that Ji-hyun wanted a tear from the heart. Just then, Ji-hyun also arrived. In-seok kept staring at her necklace. He asked Ji-hyun, why is there something inside the necklace now, when it used to be hollow? When did you change the necklace? Ji-hyun said it was the day she resigned. In-seok told her, I was very sad the day you resigned, so I went to Ji-hyun's bedside and cried. Ji-hyun then realized that the tear was actually In-seok's. Her eyes welled up with tears as she said thank you to In-seok. Mi-ho asked his partner to speed up the project because Ji-hyun's father's surgery was a success. That night, Ji-hyun received a call from Mi-ho at the coffee shop. In-seok finds out and forbids her from seeing Mi-ho. Ji-hyun says don't worry, I'll be back. She tells Mi-ho there are people I like here. You can go. Mi-ho still doesn't let go of her hand. In-seok comes down and tells Mi-ho you won't see this woman again. Back home, Ji-hyun happily tells Eun-hee that Jae-hun has recovered his memory. However, Eun-hee turns her head and looks at her. Ji-hyun didn't know Eun-hee could see her. Then Eun-hee wondered how this woman knew Jack. At work Eun-hee was looked at deeply by Jae-hun. At this time In-seok came. He walked towards Eun-hee like a guest, and Sora happened to see the scene. The next day she told Mi-ho In-seok also knew that Eun-hee was Ji-hyun. You have to know that Ji-hyun knows about our relationship. Why does she still want to get close to you? Jae-hun then tells Ji-hyun, You'd better not get into trouble. If you hurt my Eun-hee, you're dead. The doctor tells Ji-hyun's father that he can be discharged in a week. In-seok quickly tells Ji-hyun about it. Today is Ji-hyun's birthday. In-seok wishes her a happy birthday from the bottom of his heart. Ji-hyun's heart says, "Thank you." In-seok, Miho finds Yoonhee's landlord and rents the house at 3 times the price. He asked Ji-hyun to meet him at a restaurant for dinner. Then Miho revealed her identity. "What is the real reason you are close to me?" Ji-hyun was so scared that she ran out directly. She was afraid that the necklace would break and fall. Ji-hyun hurriedly went to find Jae-hun. Jae-hun said, "I don't want to see you again. You are Eun-hee in my eyes." After the subsequent exchange, Ji-hyun realized that it was Yoonhee's suicide that caused her car accident. Ji-hyun finally broke down at this time. It turned out that Eun-hee was the one who caused her death. After returning home, Ji-hyun angrily scolded Eun-hee. Of course Eun-hee could hear her. Ji-hyun directly knocked Yoonhee's chopsticks off. Eun-hee said to Ji-hyun, "Why are you doing this?" At this time, the landlord informed Eun-hee that she had to move out within a week. Someone had rented the house. Later, Eun-hee, who worked in a coffee shop, met Miho. Miho asked her to work at another restaurant and arranged accommodation and a bus ticket for her. After work, Eun-hee consulted a doctor. "What should you do if that spirit uses your body for the rest of your life?" Eun-hee then went home, looked at Jae-yoon in the corner, opened the door and said, "Go out." Without waiting for Jae-yoon to explain, she directly asked her to go out. Then Eun-hee packed her things and got straight into a taxi. Just as In-seok saw her, Jae-yoon, who was unable to possess the body, asked Jae-hun. Jae-hun said, "This is what you get for being selfish. I absolutely cannot help you. Otherwise all my hard work over the past 5 years will be for nothing." In-seok learned that Eun-hee had moved out and was calling Ji-hyun's name all over the place. At this time, Ji-hyun's weak soul collapsed on the road. Jae-hun slowly walked over and pulled her up. He asked Ji-hyun if she knew where Eun-hee had gone. Ji-hyun recalled that she had gone to the train station. Jae-hun rode on a motorcycle to take her there. Meanwhile, In-seok remembered the phone number of the taxi. He called the driver and asked about the destination and drove to the train station. In the train station, In-seok found Eun-hee. At this time, Ji-hyun also arrived. In-seok explained to Eun-hee that without you, I can't find my friend. Eun-hee said, "I know who you are talking about. I left because of her. Why should I give my body to a ghost?" Ji-hyun, however, sat next to In-seok. Eun-hee glanced at Ji-hyun, who was apologizing. Ji-hyun said she only needed 10 days. Without Eun-hee, she couldn't do anything, she might just die. Or just one day to let her see her mom and dad again and say a few words to In-seok. Eun-hee softened her heart, so In-seok drove the two of them back. She told In-seok that she and Ji-hyun had shared some memories before and that she could now see Ji-hyun. When Eun-hee returned home, she began apologizing to Ji-hyun. It turned out that the car accident was caused by her. The chain of accidents indirectly caused Ji-hyun to become like this. Ji-hyun came out and shook In-seok's hand, thanking him for bringing Eun-hee back. Then Ji-hyun went to the supermarket and bought a lot of food. Jae-hun told her that if you want to do something with Eun-hee's body, you will be responsible for the consequences. When she returned home, Ji-hyun made a table of dishes, and then she asked Eun-hee to taste her cooking. Jack told her to make all these dishes. Jack waited for 5 years to see you again. Even though you pretended to like spinach, you wanted Isu to eat it, and you liked sausages. So Jack pretended to like them. Memories returned to the past. Jack worked day and night to support Eun-hee and himself. Eun-hee, who liked sausages, always gave the first one to Jack. Jack pretended to say it was delicious every time, and Jack and a woman's photo was taken without his knowledge. Eun-hee then learned the truth. Jae-hun was at the door at this time, and he also looked forward to the day he would see Eun-hee. At night Eun-hee went to work. Miho came at this time. Eun-hee told Miho, "I left that person on the train. I am now taking Eun-hee. I will work during the day and sleep at night." Successfully tricked Miho. At this time, In-seok suddenly received a phone call. Ji-hyun's family company was facing imminent bankruptcy. In-seok took Ji-hyun's seal and went with Ji-hyun to find her mother. He used Ji-hyun's land mortgage to pay off the debt and avoid the first bankruptcy. His subordinate told Miho that Eun-hee really does work during the day and sleep at night. Then Miho received a phone call. Ji-hyun's mother had actually managed to raise the money to avoid the first bankruptcy. Ji-hyun was just about to hug In-seok to thank him when she froze. Ji-hyun, who had returned home, saw Sora at the front door. She asked Sora to come into her house and look for Ji-hyun. Sora, however, said, "Did you use Ji-hyun's land as collateral?" Ji-hyun said something creepy to her. Scared, Sora went to Miho's house. She told Miho that the person was Ji-hyun. Ji-hyun had not left. Miho, however, said that the person was Eun-hee. The next day, Ji-hyun secretly came to Miho's house. She used Eun-hee's birthday to unlock the door. Then she used Miho's mother's birthday to open the safe. Inside, it was surprisingly empty. Miho appeared in the doorway and said, "Ji-hyun, you actually tricked me." Ji-hyun was still saying, "I'm Eun-hee. Our memories are partially shared." Miho was saying this when Ji-hyun popped out of Eun-hee's body. At this time, the man Miho called came over and started doing magic on Eun-hee. saying that she wasn't possessed. Then the man actually found Ji-hyun sitting on the floor in the corner. In-seok then came to Miho's house and frantically smashed on the door. He came in and rescued Eun-hee and Ji-hyun. Then Miho was frantically demolishing the house. He still couldn't figure out who the person he loved was. Ji-hyun's father also knew Miho's true face at this time, because his identity was exposed. In-seok moved with Eun-hee to the shop, because the 49-day deadline was almost up. The weak Ji-hyun was carried in by Jae-hyun. Unable to sleep at night, Eun-hee invited Ji-hyun to go for a walk, but Ji-hyun was very weak now, so she walked down the stairs and saw In-seok. She told In-seok that Ji-hyun told her to go to bed quickly, and not to put too much emotion into it because she didn't have much time left. In-seok said that I will never give up, but Eun-hee seemed to be possessed by Ji-hyun. She hugged In-seok. In-seok tried to break free, but Ji-hyun said it would only take a moment. He immediately asked, "Are you Ji-hyun?" Ji-hyun cried without answering. In-seok said, "Please tell Ji-hyun that if she wakes up, she must say again what she wants to say now." Then he broke free of Ji-hyun's hands and left. Miho, who was standing outside the door, saw everything clearly. He couldn't hold back his tears. It turned out that person was still Ji-hyun. Ji-hyun said to Eun-hee, "Thank you for letting me hug In-seok with your body." Sora was sleeping at the time. She pulled the quilt a little and found that she couldn't move it. She opened her eyes and saw Ji-hyun staring at her. Sora suddenly woke up in a panic and quickly sent a text message to Miho. After Miho arrived, he said that the woman was Ji-hyun. There is only one way now, and that is to remove her respirator. Without a body, her soul cannot wander freely. I cannot go to the hospital now, so I will leave this to you. Sora sat on the floor, not knowing what to do. Ji-hyun looked at the calendar and said to Eun-hee, "I only have 4 days left." At that moment, In-seok suddenly knocked on the door and told her to go out. After Ji-hyun came out, In-seok prepared a sumptuous breakfast for her. Ji-hyun said that such a day is so happy. Afterwards, In-seok went to the hospital. Ji-hyun's father said that although their company had avoided bankruptcy, there were still outstanding debts, so the company was now facing being swallowed up by Miho, because he had rigged the contract. Sora came to the hospital alone. Ji-hyun was very surprised to see her and wondered what she was going to do. At that moment, In-seok also came to Ji-hyun's ward. He opened the door and saw Sora's hand slowly reaching for Ji-hyun's respirator. In-seok went over and pulled Sora away. "How could you do this to Ji-hyun? Are you even human? You really don't deserve to be human. Just go. If you don't go, I'm afraid I'll kill you." Ji-hyun was crying bitterly on the floor nearby. In-seok told Miho the next day, "You told Sora to unplug Ji-hyun's respirator. You wanted to change your current situation, but you did something even more despicable than your father. If I lose Ji-hyun, I will use my body and soul to stay by your side forever." In-seok has already gathered evidence. They can ask the prosecutor to investigate the name. In-seok accidentally found Ji-hyun's camera. Inside was a video of Ji-hyun interviewing her classmates. In-seok then realized that Ji-hyun had been running around collecting tears of true love before. He cried to the uncle that Ji-hyun was really pitiful. This was seen by Ji-hyun on the stairs. She found Jae-hyun and said that she only had 3 days left, and asked if he could become a 3-hour Ji-hyun to say goodbye to them as Ji-hyun. Jae-hyun said that this was definitely not possible. In-seok was preparing to go to the United States to contact his father, who had not been in contact for many years, to see if he could let him invest in Ji-hyun's company to help it tide over the difficulties. Miho, however, gave Sora a key and asked her to go abroad to avoid the storm. They were just about to go out when they discovered that Ji-hyun's mother was at the door. Ji-hyun's mother also saw everything clearly. That night, Ji-hyun asked Eun-hee what she would do for Jack. Eun-hee said she would cook something delicious for him and take him camping. In-seok was outside the door, saying to Ji-hyun, "You take care of yourself. I'll be back soon." The next day, In-seok was leaving for the United States. He told the uncle not to tell Ji-hyun that he would be back the day after. Ji-hyun went back to the small house and secretly made a lot of sushi. When she took it back to look for In-seok, Uncle let slip that In-seok would be back the day after tomorrow. Ji-hyun thought that if it was the day after tomorrow, she might die. She ran out and shouted In-seok's name, "I might not be able to wait for you to come back." When she got back, Jae-hyun gave Ji-hyun her final notice. "You have 16 hours and 50 minutes left as a traveler. Your trip will end tomorrow at 4:55 p.m. Any leaked items or letters cannot be left behind. Even letters you wrote to others will be destroyed." Ji-hyun went to the store to buy some cosmetics. She went back to see the people at the coffee shop and said goodbye to each of them. Then she bought a cake and went to find her parents, because today was their wedding anniversary. Ji-hyun came out of Eun-hee and turned into a soul. She cried and sang to her parents. The next day Eun-hee woke up and didn't see Ji-hyun. She went downstairs and looked around. There was a box with a farewell letter from Ji-hyun and the things she bought for her. At the hospital, The doctor told Ji-hyun's mother. Ji-hyun, from a medical point of view there is no hope, we can only give up on her. Subsequently Ji-hyun to Jaehyun said, now open the elevator, I don't want to spend like this on tenterhooks. Jaehyun took Ji-hyun to an open space. He was about to destroy the necklace but found the necklace flashed a drop of tears inside. Jaehyun then looked inside, there are already 3 tears. At this time Lucy and her mother were in front of Ji-hyun's bed crying. Jaehyun happily congratulates Ji-hyun. This is a very rare situation. He asks Ji-hyun, do you want to know who it is? Ji-hyun says, I don't want to know. Then she disappears in front of Jaehyun. Ji-hyun, who is in bed, opens her eyes and sees Lucy and her mother crying. After Dad enters, he finally discovers that Ji-hyun has awakened. They are so happy that they cry for joy. On the other side, Eun-hee is preparing to move out of the coffee shop. She told the uncle that she had no reason to stay. The uncle hurriedly told In-seok, who was returning. In-seok thought that Ji-hyun had died. Then he received a call from Ji-hyun's mother. He learned that Ji-hyun had woken up. He happily returned to the hospital. Even the doctor said that it was a scientific miracle. But when In-seok met Ji-hyun, Ji-hyun's memory seemed to have returned to before the accident. She asked In-seok, long time no see. Why are you here? Why didn't Miho and Sora come? Ji-hyun had forgotten the memory of the 49 days and thought the plan had succeeded. Miho was very surprised to learn that Ji-hyun had woken up, so he found Eun-hee and learned that Ji-hyun had really woken up. In the hospital, Ji-hyun said to In-seok, why did you stay there and not go? In-seok felt very sad. He went back and told his uncle that he was happy and sad at the same time, and he remembered the memories of those days. He had told Ji-hyun to say what she wanted to say when she woke up, but Ji-hyun had forgotten the memory of those 49 days. In-seok went to see Eun-hee the next day and told her that Ji-hyun had woken up but might not recognize her. If you want to come and work at the coffee shop you can come anytime. But Eun-hee said, I'm waiting for someone. Miho was summoned by his partner. Because of In-seok's father's financial assistance, Ji-hyun's family had repaid the debt, so their plan failed. Sora was alone in the restaurant. Looking at the photo of her and Miho, she remembered her only love. She ordered 2 bowls of rice and ate alone. Ji-hyun kept asking her mother why Sora wasn't coming. In-seok had been spending a lot of time with Ji-hyun these days. He accompanied her during her rehabilitation exercises and pushed her in the hospital for walks. In-seok asked Ji-hyun if she had dreamed about him these days. Ji-hyun said she wanted to go back. After returning to the hospital, Ji-hyun's mother brought Sora over. Ji-hyun said to Sora, I can't forget the day of my wedding when my high heels broke. You took off your shoes and gave them to me to wear. It's just because I'm your friend. Sora cried alone at home. She regretted what she had done. Eun-hee waited for Jack at home at night. At that time, a letter slowly floated down. It said, invitation from Jack. Eun-hee got up the next day and used the cosmetics that Ji-hyun had given her and went to the park. She finally met Jaehyun, who was also Jack at this time. When they came face to face, Jack said, you haven't changed at all. Eun-hee touched his face and surprisingly she really felt it. They hugged tightly. Then Isu took Eun-hee on his motorcycle to the place where he had the accident. He rummaged through the grass and found the ring. He helped Eun-hee put the ring on and put one on himself. Next Jack took Eun-hee to the playground. We didn't have money to play back then. Now we have to enjoy ourselves. The two of them felt so happy. After returning home, Jack asked Eun-hee to go shopping, while he redecorated Jack's house alone. At night, Eun-hee fell asleep in Jack's arms. Jack gently stroked Eun-hee's face. The next day, they went for a walk. Jack told Eun-hee, I'm still a dead man. I wanted to say I love you back then, but now I don't love you. I don't want to hurt you, so I'm leaving, so that you can forget me and live a happy life. Eun-hee cried and said, I want to go with you. Jack said, if you go with me, that would be a real parting. Just hold on for me, I have to let you go so that you can be happy in the next life. With that, Jack threw his ring into the sea. He told Eun-hee, you are such a precious person to me, so you will become someone else's most precious person. You have to live happily. I will leave without any regrets in the next life. I will start over with you again. Then Jack threw away Eun-hee's ring and offered a kiss. Eun-hee took a few steps back, turned around, and left with tears in her eyes, and he slowly disappeared down the road. Miho came to the hospital to visit his mother. At this time, 2 people came to inform him that he had been arrested for the crime of usurping his position. He asked to see his mother one more time. His mother finally remembered Miho. At this time, Miho also regretted it. Miho finally cried. He cried like a child. Later, during the interrogation, he was asked if Sora was involved in the plan. Miho denied it. Eun-hee still wanted to go see Jaehyun. When she got to the door, she found Jaehyun coming out. Jaehyun walked straight up to her and hugged her tightly. Eun-hee asked Jaehyun if she remembered In-seok. Why did you pretend you couldn't remember? Jaehyun said, because I'll die soon. It turned out that Jaehyun was in the room when Jaehyun appeared during the examination. Ji-hyun said, you are the messenger of death, aren't you? Why can I see you? Aren't you only visible to the dead? Why do I remember? You remember the memories of the 49 days. Jaehyun said, the last person on my itinerary is you. You have scheduled the date of death to be the 6th day from today. Since you were born, your lifespan will end on that day. You have spent the past 49 days unjustly, so I will give you a gift. I will give you the memories of these 49 days. Do you choose to forget or keep them? Ji-hyun chooses to remember this memory. Eun-hee only realizes at this time that Ji-hyun is pretending to be unfamiliar with In-seok. Ji-hyun says that if it weren't for these 49 days, perhaps Dad's company would have already fallen into Miho's hands. Sara and Miho's affair might have made me collapse and leave this world prematurely. I loved In-seok so much during these 49 days and managed to keep Dad's company. I am very satisfied and grateful. I just want to quietly leave this world. Eun-hee said. In-seok wants you to wake up and tell him you love him, right? He doesn't want you to leave without saying goodbye, right? Ji-hyun said. I like you. What's the point of saying I love you? It will only make In-seok feel more sorry for you and hurt more. She told Eun-hee not to tell In-seok. But Eun-hee was still worried that Ji-hyun was lonely, so she told In-seok. You have to know about this. Ji-hyun doesn't have much time left. You have to be there for her. In-seok said. I can never see her again as long as I live. As long as she lives. Ji-hyun returned home to a happy family reunion dinner. The family was so happy and joyful. The next day, Ji-hyun went to Eun-hee's house and made a lot of sushi with her. Ji-hyun said, Eun-hee, you will definitely be very happy. Then she went to the coffee shop and said to In-seok, let's go to the park for a picnic. Can you lend me your day to be my boyfriend? In-seok said, then lend me your day tomorrow and be my girlfriend. They went to the park together and ate sushi. In-seok took the opportunity to take more pictures of Ji-hyun. Then they went to a bronze statue. In-seok said, throw a coin here and make a wish and it will come true. Ji-hyun and In-seok closed their eyes together. In-seok made a wish, please let Ji-hyun be alive and well by my side. Ji-hyun made a wish, please let In-seok forget about me. In the hospital, Ji-hyun said to her father, I'm very happy to be your daughter. At this, her mother became a little unhappy. Ji-hyun said to her mother, I'm also very happy to be your daughter. Suddenly, Ji-hyun covered her stomach and collapsed to the ground, dying instantly. Her soul left her body. Jaehyun appeared at this time. Ji-hyun looked at her heartbroken father and followed Jaehyun out. When she asked Jaehyun if the last two tears were Lucy's and Eun-hee's, Jaehyun said the other one was Sora's. At that moment, Sara suddenly realized her mistake when she reached out to remove the respirator. She knelt on the ground and kept apologizing and confessing to you in the hospital bed. Then she got up and stroked your face. In-seok saw her taking the respirator. Sara looked at the hospital and thought that time could be turned back and she would no longer misunderstand Ji-hyun's pure heart. She shed tears of sincerity for Ji-hyun. Jaehyun and Ji-hyun shook hands. Ji-hyun looked at Jaehyun as the elevator door closed after she got on. She also went to the other world. In-seok burst into tears of grief when he rushed to the hospital. Sora, who was in the countryside, also received the phone call that Ji-hyun had passed away. Miho, who was in prison, cried his eyes out when he heard the news. The doctor said that Ji-hyun had died because of the aftereffects of the car accident and a ruptured aorta. In-seok saw the things that Ji-hyun left behind at that time. He returned the things to Eun-hee. Eun-hee looked at the things. Among them was a key to the basement where Jack lived at that time. She and In-seok went to the basement and ran to the school bag and shoes she carried when she was abandoned. And the future fund Jack had saved for the two of them at that time. Jaehyun kept crying on the side. He wanted Eun-hee to cheer up. In-seok went to Ji-hyun's house to visit her parents. But he accidentally found out that Ji-hyun had an older sister. In-seok looked at the photos and realized that they were similar to Eun-hee's belongings. Later, In-seok and Ji-hyun's mother went to Eun-hee's house and saw the school bag and shoes. Her mother recalled the station at that time. Ji-hyun's sister was called Jaewon. At that time, Ji-hyun was playing around, and when her mother went to find her, Jaewon had already been targeted by the bad guys nearby. When her mother returned, Jaewon had disappeared without a trace. It turned out that Eun-hee was Ji-hyun's real sister. Jaehyun's term of office had also come to an end, and he too had gone to the other side of the world. 2 years later, Eun-hee was preparing to work in her father's company. In-seok became a construction designer at the construction site. Sara waited for Miho to be released from prison after 3 years and took care of his mother with him. Eun-hee and In-seok came to the memorial tree of Ji-hyun and Jack. And that's the end of today's story. Life is about living each day as if it were your last. Although the ending of this drama is not very satisfactory, they leave with the love of their parents, the friendship of their friends, and the love of their lovers. And this love will continue forever.